The executive order reads, the Biden administration forced illegal and immoral discrimination programs going by the name diversity, equity, and inclusion into virtually all aspects of the federal government in areas ranging from airline safety to the military. And then they say, well, this is gone. That ends today. Americans deserve a government committed to serving every person with equal dignity and respect and to expanding precious taxpayer resources on making America great. That is exactly correct. We are also going to no longer spend our money on the World Health Organization, a Chinese-controlled, ridiculous organization that allowed the COVID pandemic to spread globally. President Trump turned to an aide as he began to sign the executive order, and he said, that's a big one. The text of the executive order cites the organization's mishandling of COVID-19. Absolutely appropriate. The WHO is a sham, just like most of these international organizations, and a joke, and we should not be funding it. President Trump issued an executive order to target the weaponization of government as well. An investigation was initiated into every aspect of American government, reviewing law enforcement and intelligence. Trump's executive order, quote, describes actions that appear more oriented toward inflicting political pain than toward pursuing actual justice. And so the AG will be directed to review the work of all the law enforcement agencies to ensure there is no deliberate political targeting. The executive order creating the Elon Musk-led Department of Governmental Efficiency was also pushed forward. There will be lawsuits in an attempt to stop that, say it's not fully governmental. I doubt that those lawsuits will hold any water in the end. Now, there are a couple executive orders that I particularly like. The one extending the TikTok ban is not something I'm fond of. I'm not sure precisely why President Trump is pushing the extension of the TikTok ban, other than what I'm hoping is that he wants a deal. He wants it. This is what he does. Carrots and sticks. The stick is, I'm not going to extend the TikTok ban unless you cut a deal to divest yourself of Chinese ownership. That is the optimistic view. A document posted on the White House website said that Trump was instructing the AG not to enforce the ban for a period of 75 days from today to allow my administration an opportunity to determine the appropriate course forward in an orderly way that protects national security while avoiding an abrupt shutdown of a communications platform used by millions of Americans. Now, if this ends with Chinese control of TikTok, that will be a mistake by President Trump. I'm very hopeful that that's not how this will, in fact, end. President Trump, on the staffing side, is doing some pretty impressive things. He froze civilian hiring in the federal government. He's imposing extra scrutiny on IRS hiring. The freeze will lift for every agency except the IRS at a certain point. It's a 90-day freeze, while the Office of Management and Budget and DOJ write a plan to shrink the federal workforce. Totally appropriate. He also, more importantly, reinstated Schedule F. So Schedule F is the ability of the President of the United States to fire people inside the executive branch. It should be a no-brainer. Constitutionally speaking, if you are in the executive agencies, you work for the President of the United States, and at his pleasure, that's the unitary executive theory, you should be fireable by the President. That's what Schedule F does. The Biden administration tried to stop this last year. They passed a rule designed to prevent Trump from reinstating Schedule F. But President Trump is going to reinstate that with the Supreme Court the way that it is. I would be shocked if this is not upheld as well. It should be. Also, President Trump said all the federal workers have to go back to work, which is pretty amazing since only 6% of federal workers show up to work in person at this point. The cush jobs are over. If you're working for the federal government, you work for the taxpayer, go to work. Go to work. On the most fun side, President Trump issued an executive order to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America and to rename Mount Denali in Alaska back to its American name, Mount McKinley. Lisa Murkowski was upset about the renaming of the Gulf of America and Mount McKinley in particular. She's upset about Mount McKinley because she's from Alaska. And she put up a post I strongly disagree with the president's decision on Denali, our nation's tallest mountain, which has been called Denali for thousands of years, must continue to be known by the rightful name bestowed by Alaska's Cayucon Athabascans, who have stewarded the land since time immemorial. Wrong.